Here I am! I've been waiting for you! You did this to me!
We thought we were watching a dark, gritty cartoon about justice, but it turns out Batman, the animated series, was doing something else entirely. It was seducing us. Between the leather-clad villains, moody lighting, and romantic drama that felt straight out of a telenovela, this show was packed with sexual tension and adult themes we totally missed as kids. Stay till the end to find out which Batman villain's voice actor starred in an erotic thriller, and why Harley Quinn was never supposed to become a major character. Harley Quinn, the flirty, chaotic, ride-or-die girlfriend of the Joker. But here's what you might not know. She was never supposed to be more than a background joke. Writer Paul Dini created Harley just as a quick joke for a single episode. The script originally just called for a female's clown to wheel in a cake during a Joker scene. That's it. But Dini had a friend, actress Arleen Sorkin, and he remembered something oddly specific. A dream sequence from her soap opera Days of Our Lives where she's dressed as a harlequin, taking this weird, playful, seductive energy. Dini saw that and it clicked. He basically wrote Harley for her with her real-life voice and mannerisms in mind. And that voice, it's iconic.
Ha! You're just jealous because you don't have a fella who's as loving and loyal to you as my pudding is to me.
Sorkin's delivery was like a twisted baby doll meets Brooklyn bombshell. Sweet, loyal, unhinged, but somehow endearing. A mix of innocence and danger that was low-key hot. The writers expected her to be a one-time character, but fans went nuts. She stole scenes, and suddenly, the Joker's sidekick wasn't just a sidekick anymore. By the mid-2000s, Harley Quinn had become one of the most cosplayed, most merchandised, and most thirsted after villains in pop culture. And it all started because of a soap opera dream sequence. Let that sink in. One spontaneous choice created a character who's now bigger than most of Batman's original rogues. She went from henchwoman to icon. But here's what I want to know. Were you more obsessed with Harley or Poison Ivy as a kid? Who ruled your world back then? Comment Team Harley or Team Ivy and tell me why. I might just feature the funniest response in the next video. Poison Ivy wasn't just seductive. She was crafted to weaponize seduction. She didn't need brute force. She had deadly charm, pheromones, and body language that screamed dominatrix, jungle, goddess. All delivered in a smooth, sultry voice that melted anyone who heard it. Ivy's first appearance in the series was in the episode Pretty Poison. The title alone tells you the writers weren't being subtle. Within 30 seconds, she's introduced as Bruce Wayne's date. But the moment she starts speaking, you know she's trouble. Draped in a skin-tight green dress, lips blood red, voice low and purring, she's literally Poison's Harvey Dent with a kiss. Literally femme fatale energy.
I'm sorry, I have an early meeting tomorrow, but you stay.
No.
I insist. Spend some time with your crazy friend.
And here's where it gets wild. The woman behind that hypnotic voice, Diane Pershing, actress, singer, and writer of steamy romance novels throughout the 80s and 90s. That's right, before voicing a plant-powered seductress, she was penning full-on paperback erotica. Bodice rippers, the kind you find on a spinning rack in a drugstore with titles like His Forbidden Touch, and somehow the exact voice was allowed on Sunday morning TV. She wasn't just sexy, she was in control. While Joker was chaos and Catwoman was complicated, Ivy was precise, calculated, always one step ahead. Even her powers were based on biology. Listen to this. Pheromones to lure, venomous lips to punish, vines to bind and control. The writers literally weaponized femininity and made it a superpower. In an era where most female cartoon characters were assistants or sidekicks, Ivy said, "No thanks, I'll be the boss, and I'll do it in heels and lipstick made from toxins." Fox censors reportedly pushed back on Ivy's early character designs, too curvy, too alluring, but Bruce Timm fought to keep her intimidatingly beautiful.
I hear he's not expected to live. Oh, it's so sad.
Her design was modeled partly after 1950s pinup girls and Rita Hayworth, the ultimately sultry siren. In early drafts, Ivy and Harley were written as domestic partners, but the network said it would be too confusing for kids. Too confusing? Nah. The only confusing thing was how we didn't all realize just how adult this show really was. Catwoman wasn't just sexy, she was sensual danger wrapped in leather. From the moment she pounced onto the screen, kids were confused and adults knew exactly what was happening. The whip, the one-liners, the way she straddled moral lines, and Batman himself made her arguably the most erotic character in the entire DC animated world. But let's talk about that voice. Smoky, mature, just a little dangerous, like a glass of red wine that might be poisoned. Catwoman was voiced by Adrienne Barbeau, who was already a Hollywood symbol before stepping into the recording booth. She made her name in the 70s and 80s, starring in cult horror films like Swamp Thing, Creepshow, and John Carpenter's The Fog, often as the tough, beautiful woman who could scream just as well as she could seduce. Bruce Timm and the animation team chose her specifically because they wanted a voice that sounded like she had lived a life, not a bubbly cartoon girl.
It's priceless, Batman. The last of its kind. Will you take me in or let it become extinct again? The lady or the tiger, darling?
Catwoman's design went through multiple drafts, and every single one landed into femme fatale territory. From the black latex suit and thigh-high boots to her piercing green eyes and confident body language, she cracked that whip with confidence. She flirted like it was her superpower, and she walked the line between hero and villain like a model on a catwalk. Catwoman was sexy, yes, but more importantly, she was empowered. She never begged for Batman's affection. She earned his respect. And even when she flirted, it wasn't weakness, it was a weapon. So yeah, she didn't just steal from Gotham's elite, she stole our hearts and probably a few childhood awakenings while she was at it. Okay, be honest, did Catwoman from the series unlock something for you? Whip it into the comments below, I'll be reading. What's wild is how much this show got away with. Fox Kids had strict censors, but somehow, Batman TAS kept slipping in adult-level tension, innuendos, and scenes that felt straight-up kinky. Writers have admitted they constantly pushed the envelope. They used shadows, implication, and emotional intensity to keep things technically appropriate, but still spicy. The result, kids saw an action show. Adults or rewatchers now see something else entirely.
Who are you? I'm your worst nightmare.
This is the place! Nobody move!
What scene felt the most grown up to you looking back? I want to know. Let's pull back the cape for a second, because behind these iconic voices were real people with real stories. And for some of these actors, the truth is more emotional and way spicier than you'd expect. Kevin Conroy was Batman. Not just the voice, but the soul. His delivery was so intense, so raw, that it felt like he'd lived Bruce Wayne's pain. And in a way, he had. Before becoming the Dark Knight, Conroy trained at Juilliard with the likes of Robin Williams and Christopher Reeve. But in the 1980s, he was a gay actor trying to find work during the AIDS crisis, a time when being out could end your career. This is a quote from Conroy's essay in DC Pride 2022. I felt this strange duality, being part of an industry that celebrates illusion while hiding part of myself just to stay employed. He channeled all of that emotional repression, heartbreak, and loneliness into Batman. That deep, gravelly tone, it wasn't just performance, it was personal.
Listen and listen good. You don't touch anything, say anything, or do anything unless I tell you. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Conroy later came out publicly in 2016 and revealed how much voicing Batman healed him. He said, "I often marveled at how appropriate it was that I should land this role. As a gay boy growing up in the 1950s and 60s, I'd grown adept at hiding parts of myself. I had become an actor, mastering masks, just like Bruce. And then there's Ron Pearlman, the legendary chiseled jaw actor who brought Clayface to life with Shakespearean rage and operatic screams. But long before he was melting faces on screen, he was starring in a 1981 erotic thriller called The Last Winter, a steamy art house romance set in Iceland filled with icy stares, longing glances, and nude scenes. It was a far cry from Gotham and a world away from the kid-friendly world of animation, but Pearlman took risks, and this was his breakout dramatic role. And fun fact, before voicing Clayface, Pearlman literally played a romantic beast in 1987 TV series Beauty and the Beast opposite Linda Hamilton. He wore full prosthetics, read poetry, and still made audience swoon. Yeah, that wasn't a fever dream, that was actually a real show. Mark Hamill deserves a shout out too. Known to the world as Luke Skywalker, he shocked everyone when he took on the role of Joker and absolutely crushed it.
Meanwhile, back at the wrench, since my side splitters don't tickle you, how about a skull splitter?
He once said voicing the Joker gave him the freedom to express all the twisted, manic energy he couldn't touch as a live-action hero. And get this, he recorded some Joker laughs while standing on a chair with his arms stretched out, like a cartoon villain taking a bow. Hamill called the role more fun than anything in Star Wars. Okay, honest take, who's your Joker? Mark Hamill, Heath Ledger, or someone else? Fight it out in the comments. So next time you watch Batman the Animated Series, just remember, behind those iconic voices were real people with struggles, passion, and yes, sometimes a steamy past. And it made the show all the richer. Batman the Animated Series was groundbreaking, sure, but it was also smoldering. These characters were layered, complicated, and let's be honest, kinda hot. It wasn't just about justice. It was about temptation, identity, and desire. And now that we're adults, it all makes a lot more sense. If you watched this show way too young and now realize what was really going on, type yup in the comments. I know I'm not alone. If you made it this far, you're officially part of the cool kids club. The ones who watch cartoons for the action, but stayed for the undeniable textual tension. So hit that like button if you unlocked some repressed memories, and subscribe if you're ready to dive deeper into the cartoons that raised us and low-key corrupted us. And I'll see you next time.